Okay, so Sean accused me of overhyping LSU in Texas again, in his words. And that was it. And then he just left. He didn't provide any context. So let's recap what I have said about LSU in Texas so far. Mind you, it is March 4th as I'm recording this. What I have said about LSU in Texas so far this year is Sark needs to win this year. There's a lot of competitive pressure on him. Duh, there is every year. But it's kind of an all-in year for Texas. They're going to be ranked highly. I will rank them highly. Arch is back. They killed it in the portal. Is anything I've said so far untrue? Anybody I think who pays attention to Texas would agree with this. Even if you think they're going to go 8-4, you at least agree with what I just said. Your follow-up would be, and they're going to crash and burn. But nothing I've said about them is untrue so far.
Hey, quick time out here. Are you subscribed to the channel? It doesn't cost anything. It's free. Please do it. It helps us maintain the show at this level. That's it. That's all I got. Back to the clip.
Then about LSU, all I did about LSU is I said they crushed it in the portal too, and they went and got a lot of high-level guys, and then they got some second-tier guys that I think were former big names in recruiting but hadn't panned out largely due to injury so far. Eugene Wilson from Florida is a perfect example. Blockton from Auburn's a good example. But if they are healthy, then Lane may have killed it on the second tier of guys. And then he got a third tier of guys from Nicholls State and North Carolina Central and a lot of places that are way off the radar. But then again, Trinidad Chambliss at Ferris State was very much off the radar last year. So there are three different, sort of bingo or slot machine levers that he pulled. One of them I'm pretty sure will come up triple sevens, but what if either of the other two do? And then I just said, if you combine that with getting Sam Levitt in at quarterback and Lane's ability, his proven ability to not require a roster full of multi-year starters to win because he didn't have that at Ole Miss, well, might they need to be considered a playoff contender? That's what I've said so far about LSU and Texas. I don't think any of that's crazy. And Sean did not provide me with the evidence of how I've hyped LSU in Texas in the past. Now, with LSU, yeah, this time last year, we were looking at a situation where Brian Kelly had made some moves, and they were going to be ranked highly, and they had Garrett Nussmeier returning at quarterback, and it was a situation where there wasn't a lot of proven production returning at quarterback in the SEC. So certainly that set up LSU to succeed. Had a good roster. Then they opened the season with a win at Clemson, and it kind of felt sort of like they may be off to the races, and they just weren't. And it crashed. But when I look back on that, I don't look back on that any differently than the Penn State or the Clemson thing. Sometimes you rank a team highly and you look back and there were reasons that you should have seen. There were red flags you should have seen. I just think those were three examples of teams that were ranked properly, given what we knew about them in the spring and summer, which is all you have to go on. You rank them as best you can. Some teams fulfill on the expectation, some don't. There will never be a year where you go 10 for 10 on your preseason top 10. Someone's going to finish unranked in there. In some extreme cases, maybe two or three of them. That doesn't mean that there were warning signs. It just means it didn't work out. I'll put it another way. Let's say that I have in my pocket right now 10 coins. Eight of them are quarters, two of them are pennies. I'm going to reach my hand in my pocket. I'm going to grab the first coin I touch. I'm going to pull it out. I want you to guess what it is. Eight quarters and two pennies in there. I'm only pulling out one. What's in my pocket? What am I going to pull out? You got one shot. What are you guessing? You're guessing a quarter. That gives you what? An 80% chance of being right. Did you make the right decision? You already know before I pull the coin out whether you made the right decision or not. What happens if I pull out a penny? You lost. Does that mean you made the wrong decision, though? No. You used the information at hand to put yourself in the most advantaged position you can be. You were 80-20 that you were going to hit. Two times out of 10, that still means you don't hit. And I look at picking these teams the same way. Penn State last year or LSU, Texas this year, these teams they're the quarter in that scenario. And so I'm going to bet on the quarter. More times than not, I'm going to hit. Like more times than not, if you play this upcoming season out, Texas is a playoff team. More times than not, if you played last season out, I think that Penn State is a playoff team. But when you change the outcome of that Oregon game, instead of Penn State winning that thing in overtime, Oregon wins that in overtime. That is like a 90-degree angle shift in your season. And if you ever have stood at home plate on a baseball field and you looked at the foul lines going different directions, if you walk 2 steps, there's not a lot of distance between those foul lines. But walk 300 feet and then look where the other foul line is. It's off in another universe. It's off in another zip code. That's kind of the divergent trajectories that a season can take. It's like a huge stone in the middle of a stream. It just diverts that water's path. And that's kind of the way outcomes are. This is not baseball. You don't get 162 outcomes, therefore rendering one individual game pretty meaningless. This is football. We play 12 of them. And when Penn State played that Oregon game and it went the way it went, that was kind of it. I certainly don't believe they would have lost the UCLA and Northwestern games had they won the Oregon game. So anyway, I'm not hyping Texas and LSU any more than they should be. It's March. We haven't even done a deep dive on any of them yet. I just feel like they're in a good position right now.